You're listening to Dude Check This Out, episode 16. Welcome everyone to Dude Check This Out, coming to you live from Fhlosten Paradise! Yeah! Woo! Unbelievable! That's pretty good. Just immediately love Chris Tucker so much.
He's very, very good.
Very good in this movie that we're going to talk about today.
Just so
so
green.
super immediately with the references, but I love it. Yeah, this Dude Check This Out. This week, it's me, Noah, and Kevin's over there.
I'm sitting across the way. There's a short distance between us, and my toes could touch your knee. Here we go.
Yeah, boop, boop. There we go.
They touched.
Your feet are like hanging off the bed, and I'm sitting in a chair, and my feet are like resting on the bed. And I'm just tickling my knee away.
The knee.
Tickling the knee with your foot. There you go.
Okay, that's enough of that. That is plenty of that.
Oh, yeah, that's enough.
Sorry. Jeez. There's that freaking hair again. Oh my gosh. Okay, we've been like talking for a little bit. We kind of do that before the show. Normally we like talk about stuff, like get levels and whatever. And on my mic, somewhere where I can't see, there is a small hair or something, maybe it's like a cat hair or something, that like when I put the mic up close to my face is constantly tickling in my nose. And I've like rotated the little thing a few times.
And it's still
like,
happening?
Oh yeah, not now, but it like every now and then it'll just kind of go boop and like tickle my nose and I freak out. I'm probably sure it's just like something in my mustache or something.
That happens
like
to me.
Touching my face
That
and
happens.
not actually the mic, but I'm also going to blame the mic.
Wow. Yeah, well, those are the dilemmas we're handling this week. But other stuff happening this week. I don't know what you got. Any news? Any cool things
news
happening
going on
lately? With you?
Not really. I've been playing some sweet Dungeons and Dragons with a friend of mine named Pat.
Nice.
Yeah, you know Pat.
Hey, what's up,
Everybody
Pat?
knows Pat. Hey Pat. Hey baby. I know you, Pat. No, but we just started a new D&D campaign with him and his brother and some of his friends, which has been pretty fun.
Nice.
Yeah. So I did that like 2 days ago, which was pretty cool. It was Easter, and that was fun. I've been starting to play The Witness again.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And
That's a hard
I've
game.
gotten farther than I did before.
Oh, okay.
And it's making me realize that it's going to be much, much harder because now, like...
I've heard the end game in that is, like, it takes everything you learn from the entire game, and it is brutal.
Yeah.
Like, having to cut shapes out of paper and, like, write stuff down and lay it out all on the ground and just, like, try to fit the entire thing together and just, like, what does it mean? How do I do this?
Yeah. And I'm not quite there yet, but there's, like... But what I'm doing is, like, it's a puzzles, and I go... I don't want to do that.
just go somewhere else.
Just go somewhere else.
I mean, that's like kind of by design. That is that game of just like going around, like trying to find puzzles that you, through logic of solving earlier puzzles, you're like, oh, hey, yeah, I've seen this before. I know how to do this. And then going to other puzzles and going, oh, I have no idea anything to do with that because you haven't learned the skill set necessary to solve that
But
puzzle
also,
yet.
I've run in a few places that are like, hey, here, like, this is where you learn how to do the thing. And I, like, spend, like, half an hour on it and go, okay, I don't know how to do the thing. And I just leave, even though that's the spot to learn.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. I'll come back to it later, I guess.
Oh, gosh.
And I haven't looked up anything yet, which and I have, like, 3 or 4 little laser beams going to the top.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how I'm going to do it the whole game without... I'm going to need to like get like a thought crew. Yeah.
Walkthroughs.
Yeah. I'm going to have to get like a thought crew together.
Get the think tank.
Yeah. I'd be like, all right, boys, like, let's get the
brute
Future
force this.
Foundation. We're going to come together. We're going to solve this puzzle. So.
Yeah. You said you've been playing it with your little brother, right?
Yeah. Over Easter, I went home and I put it up on the TV and me, Chris, and my mom all did it.
Yeah, I'm sure your mom would love
Yeah. My mom really likes it.
Yeah, your
mom
loves puzzles.
Yeah, she does. But it's kind of hard to sometimes like, with the exploration portion of the game as well, my that's kind of not the best group activity. Once you get to a puzzle you don't know how to solve, or kind of like an area of puzzles. Like I just did this desert area, which is pretty cool And because the game kind of is broken up into, you have to figure out what the rules are, and then once you know what the rules are, you have to figure out the puzzle with those rules.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got to the desert, and the first time I was like, I have no idea what even the rules are. And so, like, just wandering around the desert, like, trying to be like, okay, what the heck is going on here? My mom was like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know what the rules are yet to the puzzle. And what you have to do is get the sun to glare onto the thing, and then it shows, like, someone's, like, scratched the path, and you have to have the glare on it.
Yeah.
So it's also a lot of perspective stuff that sometimes, if it's just, like, an obvious puzzle with just things on it, anyone can we can all sit around together like, oh, try this path, try that path. But when I'm like walking around like, wow, how is the glare work on this? Like, what is it up? Is it down? It's not as much fun for the people being like walk to the left some, or like, no, walk backwards. So
just line it up right.
Yeah, exactly.
Please. Yeah.
But it's been really fun. So I'm going to keep trying to work my way through the Witness. I think Evan Parazot beat it. And only had to look up like a very, very few things.
That seems like something Evan would do.
Yeah, I think he's smarter than me. But we'll see. We'll figure it out. You got any fun games or anything you've been working on?
I finished Birth by Sleep, Kingdom Hearts, and that was fun. I even did the final chapter where like you have to like keep all the save clear data of each person's story, and then once you do that and you get every Ansem report, which isn't very hard, you'll pretty much pick up every Ansem report as you're playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
Except I missed like 2, so I had to like go back in the game and
I don't know if I did that.
Go pick them up, and then it'll unlock the final chapter, in which it takes place after the end of the game, and you like as Aqua you take Roxas out of Yensid's Ventus, not Roxas.
They are the same, more or less.
Basically the same person. You take Ventus out of Yensid's castle, and like he has to like sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And so you take him to what becomes Castle Oblivion.
Yeah.
Where he is like hanging out, and then his Sora reaches out to him with his heart, and then like part of Ventus's heart becomes Sora's heart, which is how he becomes able to wield a Keyblade.
Yeah, because technically, like in Kingdom Hearts 1, they say Riku's like, you were never supposed to have it anyways, and then like takes it from you in Hollow Bastion. Like way back in Kingdom Hearts 1, if you remember. He's like, it was supposed to be for me. You were never supposed to have the Keyblade. Like, watch. And he like takes it from you, and he gives you a little wooden sword, and you run around with a wooden sword for a little
Terra
bit.
gave Roxas gave Riku the ability to
Yeah, he did like the handing
Keyblade
down thing, and that never happened to Sora.
Yeah.
And Aqua does it to Kairi.
Yes, yeah, that's right. And then she's like, Aqua is like wandering around in the darkness until later, which I looked up information for, I'm considering getting the 2.8 collection for PS4. Because I want to play Dream Drop Distance.
I can just give it to you.
Yeah.
And play it on the 3DS.
I can play it on my TV though. That's pretty good. And also,
sure,
I think the graphics are a little
the graphics will be better, but you just are gonna drop like $30-$40.
I mean, it's almost Golden Week, which is week-long thing in Japan, and they always do a sale on PSN.
Man, cool. Do it then.
But they have a like final chapter prologue in it that they made specifically for 2.8 that's made in the Kingdom Hearts 3 engine, and it's supposed to show like what's up with Aqua during this whole time.
All right, well, if you get that, and when that happens, either let me see that or let me know what's going on, because I think it would be fun just to do an episode of us just talking about going through the Kingdom Hearts story.
To try and make sense of it, yeah.
Because
that's what the people come to do check this out for, is hot takes on Kingdom Hearts lore.
I would listen to it.
Yeah. Should start a separate Kingdom Hearts podcast. Because we're experts.
There are some crazy people out there that really like Kingdom. There's like a whole. I just happened to stumble upon this video of this like enormous other like entire backstory, like prologue to the whole Kingdom Hearts universe that was explained in like some sort of
like maybe a phone the 2.8 game or something like that.
Yeah, or just like something insane. We're like talking about like the Masters and this and that, and before the Keyblade Wars even happened, like this, and I was like, there's more. Like, oh my gosh, I can't handle
probably in like one of the like I read all the Ansem or all the Xehanort reports just because I was like,
Sure.
I'll read these, and it talked a little bit about that. I think. But
Okay. So yeah, maybe we don't have to do it on the podcast, but I think it'd be fun to one day like really just try to go through like all of the Kingdom Hearts stuff.
Yeah, that'd be
something.
that'd be a trip. Yeah, I was also at Anime Matsuri
Nice.
this weekend, doing some I was helping my lady out with her art table,
Cool.
and there were probably some Kingdom Hearts fans there too. I don't know.
There are definitely Kingdom Hearts
Yeah.
fan at an anime convention.
Also, don't go to Anime Matsuri because apparently it's run by creepy weirdos in a bad way.
Gotcha.
I mean, I'm a creepy weirdo,
We're all creepy
but in a
weirdos
good
on the
way.
inside, Noah.
but Anime Matsuri, no, bad people. We went there after it was too late to back out. So we went and made some money, but we were telling people like, hey, like we're probably not going to be here next year because of the badness.
Gotcha.
But I got some cool art from people.
Ooh, what'd you get?
That's nice. So I have some prints up there. I got like a small like 5x7 Kiki's delivery service thing that's really
Nice.
cute.
Yeah, I still need to watch that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We need to do an episode about that. I got a Nier Automata print.
Cool.
That looks pretty rad. And then I got like the sick print of Tetsuo from Akira when he's like going out of control and he's a big flesh monster.
Gross.
It's pretty great. I like its style a lot.
You'll have to show it to me
Very simple style.
here in a second.
But yeah, that's what I got going on.
Cool, man.
But let's talk about what we got going on this week. I had you watch the. Let me get my notes here. Notification.
You forget what it was?
Yes, I did until I'm looking at this page right now. We were talking about the 1997 film directed by Luc Besson. He's a Frenchman. It's a French film.
That makes it a lot of sense. Everything really falls into place now.
We are talking about the 1997 science fiction cult classic, The Fifth Element.
I knew what the sound was to go instead of going "Bwah," 'cause they don't do that in The Fifth Element. I don't know what maybe just start singing like that giant blue lady.
Yes, I love her.
Yeah, that was a very cool moment.
But yeah, Fifth Element, super cool. It was a lot older than I remembered it being. I didn't know it came out in 97 actually, because I didn't watch it till I was like
yeah, I was like 5 or 6 when this came out.
Yeah, like I didn't watch this till I was like maybe like 11 or 12, just like watching it reruns on TV with my dad. But yeah, it's super cool. Stars Bruce Willis and Mila Jovovich and what's his face, Gary Oldman's in it.
Yeah,
super great role by Gary Oldman. And yeah, it's so it's a science fiction, cool European science fiction thing. So like instead, like American science fiction has a lot of like hard right edges, whereas like European science fiction has like it's a lot more rounded edges. Like you kind of don't know what I mean.
Oh, you mean like physical edges in like the design of ships?
Yeah,
and stuff.
kind of like architecture and stuff.
Yes.
American science fiction tends to be a little more like chrome and shiny, while European science fiction tends to be a little more grimy and just like a lot of like more like bioorganic metals and stuff like that. A lot of weird looking alien stuff.
Yeah. At first I thought you were saying like, you know, like, oh, like American science fiction is very angular, but European's very rounded. It was some like weird metaphor that I was not understanding. And I was like, oh, you mean just the design of things?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, just the general science fiction design of the world. And yeah, it's I think some people would say that it's very much like a satire on science fiction tropes at that time, because like the basic whole thing is that it's like this old ancient like prophecy of there's like this big giant ball of evil that's going to come and destroy the world, and this alien race has developed this weapon that is these 4 stones that represent the 4 elements, and then there's the 5th element, which is this ultimate being that stands at the center, and when all those things are combined, they produce like this light that extinguishes the darkness. And if darkness sits there, then all of existence is plunged into darkness.
Yep.
And that secret is like passed on through priests throughout time, until the darkness has arrived and it's heading toward Earth, and they call on the aliens to come and bring the ultimate warrior, the perfect warrior, the fifth element. They get deterred by some bounty hunters, destroyed. They are able to recover her. They bring it to Earth. They bring her to life, and then she crash lands into Bruce Willis's life, Corbin Dallas.
Yeah, Corbin.
Yeah, and madcap adventures happen. The stones were also stolen or recovered.
They were hidden away with someone they trusted because they didn't trust humans.
Yeah, they were hidden away with this like opera singer lady who was performing at a cruise in Fhlosten Paradise.
Yeah, Fhlosten Paradise.
And so they recruit Corbin Dallas, who is a ex-military man, is now a cab driver in New York, to go on a mission to Fhlosten Paradise to protect Lilu, the ultimate warrior, played by Mila Jovovich, and go and recover the stones and bring her to the place in Egypt to
fight the ultimate evil.
Fight the ultimate evil thing. And along the way, Gary Oldman's like working for the ultimate evil as like a scary corporate businessman, makes weapons.
Yeah, and I guess he wants the stones to like create chaos because he believes that chaos is more interesting and helps develop people. It like creates work, and work helps people, and has some weird twisted way.
And also makes him money.
Yeah, of saying like, hey, if we
chaos is good business for war.
It's good business for war and good business for everyone in general.
Yeah.
Now, like chaos pushes society and humanity farther. So we should embrace it instead of trying to fight it.
Yeah. And then also along the way, he made a bad deal with the Mangalores, who are like space bounty hunters, and they're really fun. They're really
awesome.
fun bad guys.
Oh man, that's so cool.
But yeah, that's the general gist of the whole thing. How about we get a hot take?
Ooh,
what was your hot take of The Fifth Element?
So The Fifth Element, the first time I watched it, you had told me a little bit that it's kind of a satire and your boss doesn't like it because
it's really goofy.
It's really goofy and kind of silly. And so I went in going with the mindset and the attitude of I'm just going to sit back and have a really good time.
Oh yeah, that's the perfect like kind of attitude to go into this movie.
I was not going in like, oh, they're going to create this amazing world with all this really well thought out stuff. I was like, I'm just going to have a good time and watch all the stuff unfold. And it was amazing. It like everything was just what I wanted it to be. The first part that really caught me, that I knew what kind of movie I was in for, was when whatever the bounty hunter alien guys are,
the Mangalores.
I was gonna say something else, but when the Mangalores blow up the alien ship that has the Fifth Element in it, the scene of that is it has guys in big kind of like fleshy costumes, kind of like Godzilla looking stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, it's obviously not CGI and it's not makeup. It's like
it's a lot of really good practical effects in this movie.
Yeah, it was like a little like flesh mask, like little thing going on. And the scene goes from CGI of lasers shooting at the back of a ship to the guys holding a little joystick and just like jostling themselves. They're like, rah! And then it's like, oh no, we're getting shot at. And then it cuts back to them going, rah! And then cuts back to them shooting again. And then even a third time cuts back to them going, rah! I was like, okay.
And then like them crashing into the planet.
Yeah. And as soon as that happened, I was like, okay, yep, I know what this movie is, and I'm very much about it. And so from then on, it was just like, how ridiculous and crazy can it get while still holding true to like the core that the movie wanted to have.
Yeah.
So it's not so outlandish where it's like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy that like revels in absurdity. That like the point is there is no point. So it doesn't get that far into just like absurdist ridiculousness. It still holds some continuity and it's somewhat grounded in whatever reality it has. But it's very, very aware that this is kind of silly, right? Like that we're having a good time here. Like we're not going to take ourselves too seriously while we tell this story.
Like it still has its badass action movie moments, but it has like all this like absurd characters kind of on the edges, really making it all a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's the big thing I say is that the characters are so flamboyant and over the top. And even like Corbin is kind of a little caricature of like the badass like ex-marine who's now has like, you know, I have a bad job and whatever. Like whenever his mom calls,
I'm getting pulled back into
yeah, like I'm too old for this, I gotta get back in here or whatever. But then he's still like, his mom will call him and he's like, Mom, please, like come on.
Yeah.
She just like, and so there's still that kind of a little like caricature absurdity of even all like the serious characters have kind of some silly moments with them.
Yeah, like this was also around the time that Bruce Willis like was like in some comedy stuff. Like he appeared on a couple episodes as of Friends.
Oh, really?
He was like dating Rachel for a couple episodes, and like Bruce Willis surprisingly has like some really good comedic timing.
Yeah,
like funny Bruce Willis is pretty funny.
Man, now I want to go watch those Friends things.
It's pretty
I didn't
good.
know. Yeah, so I think the movie is so similar to Tremors, right? Where I said they really balance that line of silly absurdity while still kind of not being too much. I think Fifth Element is a different, it's kind of an offshoot of that. It's not so much schlocky horror, kind of comedy as it is like absurdist sci-fi kind of stuff. So they take the kind of the same concept and apply it to a different genre, and they just do a really, really good job. It's just so fun the whole way through. And there's enough seriousness and like character moments, like the moment where he's talking to the singer and she's like, hey, like, Lilu, the Fifth Element girl, she's like, Lilu needs you, like she needs your love, you need to care for her, and she's way more fragile than she seems. And that was like a really touching moment in the movie. So there's still those like, there's that drama and like the touching moments and the emotion, but that happens right after she like Bruce Lee kung fu like slaps a guy in the face. So,
and then like is like about to punch him, and then she like rears back to like for the punch, and there's a guy standing right behind her, and then she punches that guy in the face and then punches the guy in front of her.
Yeah. And so there's like this, there's that whole scene of her, and because that happens right, she literally like kind of fish slapping the guy and then does that. And then right after that, you know, she tries to run away and do whatever. And so then a scene or two later, there's this really touching moment of her being like, hey, she might be really buff and like, you know, is this perfect human or the perfect being, but she is more fragile than she seems. She's going to need your love and you need to care for her. And so this that kind of like back and forth between silly absurdity, but with still like the core of the heartfelt or grounded in solid movie stuff.
Yeah.
So I was a huge fan. I thought it was awesome, and it was very like 10 out of 10, super great.
That's great.
Yeah, I really, really liked it. And I can see how you can watch it over and over again and still really enjoy the movie, where it's not like you watch it once and then you're done. Like, oh, cool, that was a really good movie, but, you know, I don't need to see it again. Where I can see how it got to like its cult classic kind of legacy of, oh, yeah, I want to watch that movie again. Yeah, I had a really good time, and I will continue to have a really good time watching it.
Yeah, this is a movie I've watched a lot with my dad. And it's just, this movie's just so quotable.
Yeah.
There's so many great scenes and so many great moments.
Yeah, totally.
In it. I have a lot of moments in my notes here.
Cool, yeah. You want to go through?
Yeah, sure. But like, what were some moments that stood out to you?
So, the moments that stood out to me, one of the very first things that happened in the movie is right when we're introduced to Corbin Dallas. There's this guy who tries to come and rob him.
Yeah.
And he has...
Give me the cash!
And so he has on his head... So, like, he looks through the peephole and doesn't see anything, and then he opens the door, and the guy had somehow taken a picture from the perspective of the keyhole. So he, like, somehow must have, like, opened the door and put his camera where the keyhole was to take a picture of that, and then put it on his head so that when he looked through it, he saw the top of it, so when he opened the door, he could lift his head and pull a gun on him. And everything about that character is hilarious.
It's so good.
Because Corbin Dallas obviously is some big ex-military man and like takes the gun from him. And then afterwards, he's like, "You have a good day now." And the guy's like, "Yeah," and he's like standing there, kind of starts clapping to him.
Little dance he does.
So man, that was another moment that as soon as that happened, I was like, "Okay, yep, I am I'm buying what this movie is selling. Thank you very much. Yes, please.
Yeah.
So that was amazing. That was definitely one of my favorite moments. Along with every time Corbin picks up the phone and talks to his mom.
Yeah.
Because his mom's just like, oh, you never loved me. I should be the one going on that cruise. Oh, you're just going to leave me here to die, blah, blah, blah. And the whole time, like even at the very end, where
she like
calls the president.
The president picks up the phone and she's like, "Oh, that doesn't even sound like the president. The president sounds like an idiot. You don't sound like an idiot."
Yeah. And then he's like,
and they're all just like passing the phone to each other.
Yeah. So pretty much everything with the mom I thought was really, really funny too. Another really cool moment that kind of goes with the whole style of the movie was somehow from the explosion they get Lilu's hand. And with that, they like remake Lilu. And so before they go and remake
science machine.
Yeah, whatever. Before they go and make them, they go through like what I assume is like a cleansing room, and it's all like black lights, and they all have like their eyes are like super big and green, and they're all like speckled with weird green stuff because I'm assuming like they're about to be cleansed to go into like whatever this medical chamber is.
Yeah.
And just that one scene, I was like, whoa, like they don't explain it. They're not like, oh, this is our cleansing room or this is the reason, blah, blah. They don't do a bunch of like techno babble. They just like, oh yeah, this happens and everyone knows about it. And if you'll figure it out as you go kind of deal.
Yeah, the movie's got some really good style. A lot of really good world building.
Yeah.
Just like not even through like exposition, just through like showing like how the world works. Like one of the weirdest things is like how all the service industry stuff is like really sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Like those cops go through the McDonald's and it's like sexy McDonald's. Like all the like people working there like wearing like, you know, really like scantily clad, like a lot of cleavage kind of outfits, and like all the like flight attendants on the space airplane are also like that.
Yeah, because even on like the airplane, they're like, all right, we're gonna help you get there a little bit sooner, so you're gonna fall asleep now. And they hit the button and Corbin just like passes out.
Yeah.
Just like instantly sleeps. So I think like the style too as a whole is super cool. Kind of the European, kind of like more grungy, I guess.
Yeah,
kind
like
of
Corbin's
style.
apartment.
Yeah.
Specifically, like everything's really cramped, but like everything's also like automatic and automated. Like his bed, like every time it like he goes to sleep on it and then he gets back up and it goes into the wall, and then a new already made bed pops up for like when he goes to sleep.
Yeah.
For the next night.
Yeah, and just like kind of the silly future dress that a lot of people wear. Like, so Zorg, right, is the big bad guy.
Gary Oldman.
Yeah, and he has like a weird clear thing on the side of his head, and the back of his collar is really, really tall.
Yeah. He has his like pinstriped coat, but then he also has that like really like reflective pearlescent collar that's like also like the inside of his clothes.
Yeah, and like all the like the weird fashion of all the flight attendants or the ladies who work, I guess they're the flight attendants that like have like really strange like purple like kind of, it's kind of sexy but it's also like weirdly strapped kind of stuff. Or when Lilu first gets, when they like kind of clothe her first, like, all right, put on the heating straps, and she gets like weirdly strapped up with whatever is going on. So I just thought that all like the cool future stuff isn't the super sleek, angular, metallic Star Trek kind of future.
Right.
That even Star Wars, which is kind of, it's still kind of sleeker and everything's more glass and that kind of stuff. It was kind of a little bit of a dirtier looking, and you know, it's probably not dirty, but it like kind of everything's like tinted a little yellow and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought the style was really, really, really good. I was like super on board with that type of science fiction style.
All the like ridiculous helmets that the policemen wear.
Yeah, that they look like kind of like Judge Dredd met RoboCop.
Yeah.
Kind of deal.
Which I'm sure is a big influence because Judge Dredd is also European.
Yeah. I also really, kind of talked about it a little bit, but I really love the action scene with Lilu. Yeah. Where she goes in there and fights all the guys.
And it's like playing to the opera music.
Yeah, because the opera music goes hip hop halfway through.
Oh, it starts off classical and then it like breaks down into like a crazy hip hop like opera thing. And then also like she starts doing like crazy like things that are impossible for like a person's voice to do.
Oh yeah,
where like it starts
the range of super low all the way to super high.
Yeah, she'll like do like crazy pitch changes and like the turn of a, you know, whatever. It's a turn of dime. I don't know if that's the right thing. but turns like a dime.
I think it's on a dime.
On a dime. But yeah, just like crazy pitch changes. Like she'll in like 2 seconds she'll go from like up down down up down up down, like almost sounding like
an electronic keyboard or something. Yeah. And I just like that she starts like dancing to it and stuff, and it cuts back and forth.
Really into it.
Yeah, it cuts back and forth between her singing and then Lilu like punching and doing cool stuff in time with the music, and then they like both bow together and stuff at the end.
Yeah.
So I thought that whole scene was kind of filmed like a kung fu action scene. Like the filming techniques, that kind of stuff was like a kung fu action scene instead of just like, like a sci-fi shooter or something like that. So that one scene was something that every time I go back to, I'm like, oh yeah, like I can't wait to get back to that scene. That's super cool. So that was definitely one of my favorite ones.
Nice.
And then more or less everything about Ruby Rhod.
Ruby Rhod.
Here he is, the one and only winner of the Gemini Croquette Contest. This boy is fused like fire. So start melting, ladies, because the boy is hotter than hot. He's hot. The right side, the right heel, the right head, the right arm. Right on. And
I love him. Yeah, Chris Tucker as Ruby Rhod is amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen, because Chris Tucker was also in all of the Rush Hour movies. Then my family really liked those. I don't know much else that he's in. I don't know a lot of his movies.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I could probably look up a filmography and be like, oh yeah, duh, he was in that. But nothing's really coming out to the top of my head.
Ruby Rhod to me seems like a performance and a character that nobody else could do.
Oh yeah, it's very much Chris Tucker's character.
Yeah,
like he made that character.
And that I feel like it's one of his best performances. And, maybe he has other performances that I'd be like, oh, just kidding, this one's way better. But I find it hard to find a character for him that could top Ruby Rhod.
Just so flamboyant and great, and like the way he plays off Corbin is just amazing.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Come
on, man.
Come in, what trouble? Come in. And like when they are in that like big shootout in the ballroom, and he like throws up that like grenade bomb, and he's like, okay, count to 10, and they're running under the pool table, and he's like counting really loud, and just screaming the entire time.
And I also like that at the very beginning he talks about saying, oh, like I just need a good show. Like that show was garbage. That show was so bad. It was boring.
Had no pop, no emphasis, no nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And at the end, he's like, that was the best show I ever put on. Like after all the violence and stuff. And then
after all of Corbin, like just giving 1-word responses to all of his questions.
And then he sticks around. Yeah. That's what it was, because like he could have just been the kind of deal. Then they go to the next place, and they like have a short scene of dropping him off because he's like, okay, this guy's not important anymore, or just like go to the next scene and he's just not there because like, and they say like, oh, we're like, I was like, oh, I'm glad we got rid of Ruby, or he, oh, he's off primping or doing whatever, but he's just hanging out with them.
Yeah, he's there helping them activate all the elements at the end of the movie to help save the world.
Yeah, that Ruby Rhod, man. So I was just so glad that after everything, he's just still there. Like his character arc and everything, that the kind of deal of, oh, he wanted a good show and he learned through all that stuff that just being flamboyant or whatever, there's more to life than his over the top deal. There's real stuff going on that he could impact, kind of be like, that was the best show I ever did. Because, that kind of arc or whatever, that could have been it. But it's like, no, he'll just hang out.
Yeah, he'll still be
He'll be here. He's cool. People like him.
But then he leaves on his own accord after like the lasers shoot into the sky and everything's saved. And then like the priest assistant just goes, yeah! And Ruby's like, ah! The hell's wrong with you? I'm leaving! So good.
Yeah, that, and I just love every time he wants someone to go away, he just goes, bzz, bzz. So pretty much everything with Ruby Rhod is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So those are definitely like the things that jump out at me. I mean, there's so much good stuff. Like at the very beginning, the very first time where they shoot down like the alien ship, I thought that was hilarious and really liked that. When like I thought it was really cool when Lilu is like pretty much everything with Lilu as she like learns stuff. There's not really a moment with that, but just like how she learns everything is really, really cool as well.
like looking at the screen and like having just like this whole info dump, but then also like talking with Corbin and learning stuff that way too.
Yeah.
I really like one of my favorite sequences in the movie is when they're at the airport.
Mm-hmm.
There's like there's so much good stuff at the airport because like they get to the airport and the flight attendant lady there is like, oh, please excuse the mess, and they're like, what, the garbage, and like just look to the back and there's just like a mountain of garbage just in the airport for some reason. I don't know. There's just like tons of garbage in the airport, and then like everyone, all the different characters coming up and be like, yes, I'm Corbin Dallas.
Yeah.
like Corbin Dallas already checked in. Oh, and also the famous Corbin Dallas multipass.
Yep.
That's like one of the top quoted things from that movie. Lilu just constantly multipass. yes, multipass. Yes, yep, that's a multipass.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
And then there's a small thing that like I think only me and my dad find funny, but it's when after the priest sends his assistant and Lilu to like go get on the plane, and he's like at the bar and there's like this robot bartender and he's like talking to the robot bartender and he puts his glass up there and it pans to the robot bartender and he goes, you want some more?
You want some more?
And like anytime like me and my dad like we'll be like eating dinner and like we'll get up and we'll go, you want some more?
It's pretty good.
It's just, I don't know. It's a very small thing, but it makes me laugh.
Yeah, well, that whole scene was really, really good when David, I think is the guy's name.
Yeah, this
like will come back, and he's like, "Oh yeah, man." He's like, "Oh, David, it's good to see you." He's like, "Wait a minute, what? Like you're supposed to be on the thing?" He's like, "Yeah, Corbin came and he took her away. I don't know what to do.
I thought he was going to kill me."
Yeah, poor David.
Yeah,
you mean so well.
But then he got on the plane, and then like disguised Mangalores come and try to get on the plane, saying they're Corbin Dallas, and then Zorg's assistant comes and tries to get on the plane, saying he's more Corbin Dallas. And then like that's when they like shut everything down, and he's like banging on the glass, and then the like police like automated guns come and like chain on him, and he's like, "Okay, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
So put your hands on the yellow circles.
Yeah, I think this movie does a really good job of showing a lot about the world and showing a lot about how people interact with each other and kind of the culture just through small little moments.
Yeah.
And not so much through explanation or technobabble or exposition, but just they kind of
showing how the culture of that world operates.
Yeah, that it is a little bit of a that the police officers in the military are just kind of almost automated. And just like way more where they just put like literally they just pulled a gun on him for banging on the glass.
Yeah.
So you can kind of tell it's not a like a a dystopia where there's a ton of violence everywhere, but it's the kind of deal of because the population has gotten so large that people just have to like things are a little more forceful and automated now. Yeah. So, and I just like the whole like thing about the how many points he has left on his
license.
On his license, like what does that mean? I don't know.
License, yeah.
Yeah, but apparently, if he runs out, that's a bad thing. So they don't really tell you stuff. It's like so everything is like on a point system now, and you can have things revoked. And I just think there's a lot of cool world building and things left up to the imagination of the viewer. Because they just don't give you the whole story.
Yeah, they don't waste time trying to like explain things.
Yeah,
to you.
They just present the world as is, and then us as viewers get to kind of piece it together and say, "Oh yeah, what do points mean? I don't know, probably something like this." And if you talk to the creator, they'd be like, "Yeah, that sounds about right. Sure, like I didn't really put a lot of thought into it, but that sounds good. Let's go with that."
Speaking of great things in the world, so when they're at the airport. And they're like about to take off, and there's like the parasites that like infest the airplane, and that freaking reggae airplane maintenance guy is like the best thing. He's just down there like calling shots, telling people to flamethrower things, and he's smoking a doobie joint, whatever you want to call it. Just rechanging those atomic powered cells, whatever. That guy is great.
Yeah, just that,
I always look forward to that scene every time I watch this movie.
So just that this movie does a really is like almost like a textbook case of the show not tell, and you're here to tell a specific story, don't get bogged down by the details. Yeah. Just like if you have a cool idea for something, just do it, and the audience, you don't have to explain everything to the audience. The audience will either pick it up and figure it out, or just ignore it and not worry about it as long as the story you're telling is going on. So they spend a lot of time explaining, what the fifth element is and why that's important, but they don't explain anything about license numbers, license points, or where those parasites come from, why are they there, why that giant atomic battery thing, what's that? It's that stuff doesn't matter. What matters is Lilu and Corbin.
Yeah.
But that's still cool and that looks neat and is fun, so let's just add as much of that stuff in there as we want, but we don't need to explain it because it's not important.
Yeah. And then the ending, the fifth element being love, is really, silly, but it matches up with how silly the rest of the movie is.
Yeah, and it's kind of corny and campy and oh, of course, I bet it's going to be love, right? That's what it is. It's no, yeah, but yeah, that's cool.
That matches up with
I'm on
the rest
board.
of what this movie has been this entire time.
Yeah. So, or that they're how do we get, we put him there, what do we do now? And it's oh, I bet they have to put water on the water one and dirt on the dirt one and fire on the fire one, that. I bet I remember sitting there going I bet that's what they have to do. And then Lulu started saying fire for fire, air for air, water for water, or whatever. I was oh, yep, nope, I figured it out, I'm real smart. But it's that's textbook classic kind of puzzle whatever thing. So pretty much everything about the movie, it's not a movie that's going to stimulate your brain and be whoa, I've been open to this whole new world that's amazing. And it's not going to be whoa, I never saw that coming, that blew my mind. But it's going to be something that you go into and you're I want to go to this place, I want to get lost in this world, and I have an amazing time watching the movie.
It captures the imagination in a way that really great movies do.
Yeah. And I do think that, kind of talking a little bit, I've been thinking more about kind of what you were talking about last time with Logic and his style of rapping, and the things that he raps about, how he's a very front and this is what I mean and I'm going to tell you about stuff. So in his Everybody album, yeah, I didn't really like it because compared to Kendrick and how he does his music, right? And we kind of talked about that a little bit. I think to kind of parallel that, if the fifth element explained absolutely everything in a way of this is why everything is the way it is and all that stuff, instead of just showing you and letting you figure it out on your own, then you wouldn't want to watch it as much because you have to sit through so much exposition that the first time you thought was interesting and cool, but now you're yeah, I already know that, so I don't want to have to listen to a bunch of exposition again.
Yeah.
So I think kind of paralleling that, I think in a lot of media, so Logic's albums compared to Kendrick's albums, or this compared to, I don't know, maybe Star Trek. I don't think that's a good example. I don't really know what a parallel would be. But as an audience, we would much rather be shown and not told and figure it out on our own to make us feel smart and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
the fifth element rewards repeat viewings because you notice things that you didn't
exactly
on
that
the
is
first go.
And they don't, and the fifth element doesn't feel the need to have to explain everything to you. It just expects that you'll figure it out as you go. In the same way that compared to Logic's rapping style, the kind of a parallel, very loose parallel, that he's very explicit in what he means and what he's saying, and straight up will tell you I struggle with anxiety, we struggle with anxiety, and together we can overcome that. Or I grew up in this specific environment and this is the struggle I had and this is how I'm overcoming it and this is why, let's go out there and let's make a change together. Where Kendrick is being I'm not going to say that, I'm not going to tell you what to do, I'm just going to paint this picture and then you have to figure it out on your own.
Right.
And so that's something you want to go back to over and over and over again because it makes you think. Because he doesn't, where Logic's rap doesn't really make you think because he just straight up tells you the meaning already. Where Kendrick is showing you the meaning, you come up with it on your own. In the same way that the fifth element kind of does that. It just is hey, there's all this cool stuff going on and we don't explain anything and you just got to figure it out through watching it. And it's in there. You just got to figure it out. And we trust that you're smart enough to figure it out instead of telling you, oh, this Anakin has the most force power in the universe because his midichlorian levels are off the charts. It's well, now there's a specific, very clear reason and you already told me. Or you could just say yeah, his force powers are off the charts and he's insane. has like this unbound destiny and this really cool thing. It's like, wow, like now I want to, well, why is that? Well, now it's up to me to figure it out instead of you just saying because X is this.
Right. Yeah.
So I know it's not exactly the same, but that's something that I think is why The Fifth Element, you can watch it just forever, over and over and over again, because they never like really go into that level of exposition and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Excellent world building goes a long way
Yes.
in the legacy of a piece of media.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you liked The Fifth Element.
Yes, I did.
So
Thank you
much.
for finally making me watch it.
Yeah.
So now,
Heck yeah.
I guess now what I'll just have to do is, if the next time you tell me to just watch a movie, I'll just go and do it, because if they're as good as The Fifth Element was, it was definitely worth it.
Oh yes, all the movies I watch are all just as good as The Fifth Element. Every single one of them.
Well, if you tell me I should watch it, I'll assume that.
Right. Yeah. Sure. Well, I guess now it's time for ratings. So I'm gonna think of.
Oh, you haven't come up with one yet?
I was trying to think of one, but I didn't quite get there. I was thinking like scale from 1 to hip hop opera or like kung fu opera.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good. So kung fu.
I don't know if that's an easy thing to.
So a hip hop opera.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite scenes in the movie, to be sure. Okay. I will go with the classic disco band, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yes, that's good. Oh yeah, actually yes. Duh.
That's
That fits
very
perfect.
good, right? Yeah, right?
Damn it.
That's
Oh,
2
that's-
weeks, 2 times in a row I got you.
Yeah. With my slow uptake of humor. That's perfect.
I'm a
All right.
genius.
Well, that's the
I'm
rating.
so smart.
Oh,
Sweet.
great. All right.
All right, so my turn.
Mm-hmm.
So next time we did what? We done music, we did a movie. What did we do before Logic?
We did comics.
Comics
New
and then a
Avengers.
book. So I'm going to get us back to our roots,
Mhm.
which what we did the second time. I'm going to give you a video game to play.
All right.
And I am going to give you the video game BioShock Infinite.
Oh, neat. Okay, so this has been in my Steam library for like ever.
Okay.
And I still haven't played it. I played the original BioShock. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't played 2.
You
Heard it
haven't
was-
played 2?
No, I heard it was okay. Like it's not like required, but it's still good.
It's definitely not
Um,
required for Infinite. Infinite takes place in a totally different
yeah.
area.
Yeah. And I played BioShock 1 like late. Like I played it like probably like 5 years after.
Oh yeah,
the
me too. I
after
played it.
had it originally come out.
Yeah, I played it in college,
Yeah.
something like that.
Because it came out when we were like 13 or something.
Yeah.
So- it came out like maybe a year after the PS3 launched.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it is pretty
It was
old.
Very very early release.
Yeah. Okay, but so BioShock Infinite,
Yes.
it was developed by Irrational Games. Originally, they were like 2K. They were part of 2K,
Mhm.
and they're like the Boston division or whatever in Boston.
Yeah.
And they developed the original BioShock, but they didn't do BioShock 2. A different company did BioShock 2. It was done by 2K Marin. It's like a different like branch of 2K.
Yeah.
And so Kevin Levine, or Ken, not Kevin. I wish it was Kevin.
Yeah, Ken Levine. Yeah.
Ken Levine was the lead creative director for Infinite, and he was like the guy who came up with BioShock 1. So it's a very kind of like return to form. And he was also like one of the guys that did System Shock 2, which is like very, very similar to BioShock.
Yeah, that's a very like coveted cult classic
Yeah.
amongst people who like that era of games.
Yeah. And since you played the original BioShock, BioShock Infinite is very similar. It's like almost the same kind of formula for gameplay, at least. That, you know, you're walking around, you're shooting people, and you still have like instead of like injecting yourself with plasmids to give you fancy magic powers, you drink this thing called
Vigors.
you drink Vigors.
Yeah.
And then instead of needing Adam or Eve to like get your powers back, you need salt. Like salts is what you like take in to like refill your bar. But it's the same deal of like, oh, you do this and you get lightning powers, and you drink this one and you can do this thing. Kind of a similar way as the original BioShock was. But the coolest thing is where BioShock, the original BioShock, was a kind of horror-esque kind of there was some stealth
there's some
elements.
scary stuff in that game.
Yeah,
like the intro to that game is like very like puts you on edge.
Yeah, and there's like some stealth elements of, you know, you don't always want to fight the big daddies. You kind of sneak around them sometimes, and that kind of stuff.
You have to plan to fight the big daddies.
Yeah, in BioShock Infinite, it's more of like a swashbuckling airship murder party instead of like an underwater like horror crawl. And so all the bad guys are also like 1860 Confederate patriots that took their like, we love the South so much that we're going to make it a religion kind of deal.
Yeah.
And those are the bad guys instead of like freaked out, like overdosed, like insane people.
And instead of screw you guys, we're going to the bottom of the ocean, it's screw you guys, we're going to the sky.
Yeah. And so instead of showing up after the party and having to piece together what happened in the original BioShock, you show up and you are the party and you like blow up everybody. So it still has like the great characters that BioShock had, you know, and like you'll pick up the little recordings and listen to them so you kind of hear what characters do as you go. And it's just a hell of a lot of fun the whole way through. And you're just, you know, it has a really interesting storyline that really makes you think with lots of twists and turns. And Elizabeth is kind of like, is a character you have to kind of guard as you go through.
Yeah, you have like a companion in this one.
But she's the same kind of companion kind of that Ellie is in The Last of Us. That
she's like very competent.
Yeah, like she's there, but she can handle herself, so don't worry about her.
Nice.
Because like Ellie would be, you know, just like in The Last of Us, like would run around in front of bad guys, and they'd be like, well, we don't see Joel, so it's I don't know who this girl is, but I guess it's fine. In the same way in BioShock Infinite, Elizabeth will like run around and do stuff and will like find things to give to you, which is pretty cool.
Oh, cool.
So like there'll be times where you're like, oh no, I'm running out of ammo, and she's like, here's some ammo, and we'll throw you ammo. Like, oh, cool, okay, I have ammo again.
Nice.
So it's super fun. It's super cool. It's the feel is very different than BioShock on like a theme and that kind of way. But as you play it, you're going to be like, oh, this feels like a BioShock game.
Yeah.
Even though
with like the shooting and the upgrades and
all that
like
stuff will be the same, and the Circus of Value is still there.
Nice.
So yeah, no worries. So yeah, BioShock Infinite, get on it.
Sweet.
It's super great.
I look forward to playing it.
Yeah, you should. I'm going to play it again. I've been itching to play it again. That's kind of why I wanted to give this to you. A little bit, half for me, mostly for you.
Yeah. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, well, that's all I got.
All right, cool. Well, I guess that'll do it for this week. Yeah, I guess we'll play some fun video games.
Yeah,
and
video
games. Yeah, video games.
Games.
Playing the BioShocks. Probably play that on my computer on Steam, because that's what I have it on. I played the first BioShock with a controller.
Gosh, you said the magic word. You said computer.
Yeah, my Amazon Echo is keyed into computer being the activation word, and it just said a thing. I don't know.
I saw it light up, and I was like, what's it gonna do? Yeah.
They're listening to us. But yeah, I'll be playing keyboard and mouse probably. This one, so
I would say keyboard and mouse. That's what I played it on, but I also play most of my first-person shooters that way.
Yeah.
Just because I think it's...
I remember I gave you, like, you tried Titanfall 2 on my PS4 for, like, a second.
Yeah.
And it was really hard for you to acclimate first-person controls to a controller.
Yeah, it definitely... Well, just because first-person shooter, I'm so used to the precision of a mouse.
Yeah.
Compared to the dual stick of, like, okay, I want to look over to the left. Okay, there it is. To get around, because you have to like it can move at a fixed speed,
right? Yeah.
Where with a mouse you can just like rah and like zoom everywhere and look. So yeah, I guess, have you played a lot of first-person shooters on a mouse and keyboard?
I have. I'd say probably like my experience is like half and half.
Gotcha.
Because
I used to play a lot of Overwatch on mouse and keyboard.
Yeah. I do a decent amount of first-person on mouse and keyboard. but then like there have been certain times in my life where like my PC wasn't strong enough to play like current games, so I play a lot of stuff on my console. So I kind of have like a split experience with that.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah, and then some games are just like were mapped to like intended to be played with a controller, so some just like control better on a controller. Like that's my opinion of Titanfall.
Hannah Montana.
What?
Best of both worlds.
Okay.
I wanted to say that joke sooner, but you were on a roll, so I just let you finish.
And with that,
and then I had to say
we're gonna end this episode.
The end of my joke.
Crap, damn it. We're gonna end this episode right now.
All right,
okay, we're done. We'll see you next time.
All right,
bye. Freaking Hannah Montana.
What? The best of both worlds.
Fired.
It's not that bad. I've made worse jokes. I have.
I guess that's true.
Though there's
evidence.
This reminds me of the time where at the very end where there was a time when with Johnny Boy he goes, "You guys think you're funny?" And we both go, "Oh no,
oh absolutely,
no, they're on to us."
We've been had.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite moments of our whole podcast so far. It's where Johnny Bush was like, "Oh, you think you're funny?" We're like, "No, we don't. We know we're not funny, not at all."
That episode was really fun.
That's good. All right, we're done.
We're done.